Welcome to Unstapled Commander,
where we scoop at instant speed. I'm Alex, and that's Jason
How are you guys doing?
and Maddie.
What's up?
And today we're going to give you a little bit of an intro into what makes Unstapled Commander tick. Personally, I wanted to jump into this podcast and start making things because I really like talking about Magic. I really like playing Magic, and I think many different points of view about Magic is very helpful. I mean, what about you, Jason? How'd you get into Magic?
Yeah, I agree. It's just a lot of fun. I started playing so long ago. I think my cousin introduced it to me, but I can't remember. It was either him or one of my friends from like junior high. But I think even maybe before junior high was the first time I played. Um, but I remember there was a 7th edition Thorn Elemental that I thought was the coolest card ever, a little Timmy card. That was the first card that's the card I remember from back in the day. Um, but then more recently, I started playing. I quit for a long time, and then I started playing again recently around War of the Spark era. So I've been in and out for a long time, but the
Hey,
last time I joined, I played a lot more.
that's when I started playing. I
War of the
started
Spark.
playing, yeah, War of the Spark. I started playing around Guilds of Ravnica. Rakdos was the first card I ever pulled and I ever saw, and I wonder if that had any kind of effect on my upbringing.
You want to know what got me back into it? Actually, I was just sitting here watching YouTube videos, and the trailer for War of the Spark just randomly came up. You know
The
it had
really cool
the
one
yeah, and
where
it
it's
had
like
the
backwards.
yeah, and it's Liliana, and it's going back in time, and it's playing the Linkin Park song, and then it
Yes.
starts going forward again. That's
Yeah.
what got me back in. I was like, I should try that out again. So that was really cool trailer. Props to Watsy. What about you, Maddie?
I started playing back like 10th edition. I used to go to this card shop next to the movie theater, and I played Pokemon there, and then I saw Magic, and I was like, ooh, I'm playing Magic. It's so much better. And then I got my ass beat over and over and over again. But
Hell
after
yeah.
that, I kind of dropped out for a little bit, and then I picked it back up in high school, my senior year, just a little bit, not much. And then every so often I'd play it. It wasn't like a big thing, but just recently during the pandemic, I got back into arena, like hardcore. And since then, I've just been kind of playing. And then back in October, I decided to play Commander, which that's where I met you guys. So
Yeah.
Is that really it? Is that really how you met us, Maddie? You want to tell the dirty story of
yeah.
how you met me?
Oh, okay, I'll break it out. Okay, so that leads into what Alex was one of my first people I played against in public. That wasn't like one of my group of friends. All right, let's play this, and he drops Yorlock, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, oh, that's cool. Imprisoned in the Moon. Instantly gone.
And it was the first time I had ever played the deck. I had just built it. I really wanted it to work, and Maddie made sure it didn't.
Nope, not in my house.
With one card.
I wonder what that feels like.
Hey, but then you gave us a bunch of extra mana, so that was pretty great.
Yeah, right? Yeah, once you imprison in the Moon Yearlock, you're just giving away free mana.
But the best part is like after that game, like we played every so often, but we really cemented at home that like Alex was a good like friend, and I was glad to be in his play group. I missed a couple sessions, like not sessions, but weeks, and he messaged me on Discord and made sure I was okay. So those little things that kind of made this the reason why I wanted to do this whole group thing. And I don't know, he said Jason was cool, so we started hanging out with Jason. So
Alex, tell him how you met me, because I don't remember the story very well, but apparently you do.
So Jason has this way, and he still does, where when he gets really focused, he stops talking. And to a new player who has never played with Jason before, it seems like he's pissed. And it seems like he's pissed at you because you're the one that's beating him, and that's why he has to focus so hard. And he completely stops talking. And I honestly thought Jason was a bit of a jerk, and I thought he hated me.
No. Well, and you gotta tell him as well, because like this is part of why I play Commander, because I used to play Standard, and then Standard got really, really boring to me.
Which we'll get to that
because-
later, though.
Yeah, Standard got really boring to me. But anyways, we were playing in a draft, and draft is where I get my competitive fix. I don't get as much of a competitive fix when I play Commander. But when I play draft, I like to try a lot harder to win, and so I was very focused on winning.
He's super sweaty. when he
I'm a little
plays
bit of a
draft.
sweater when I draft. Most of the time.
Yeah.
Sometimes I just kind of don't care, like when it's 1 a.m. So
Yeah.
Hey, you got a Miracle off.
yeah, I did. I got an Emrakul and I got a Teferi's Protection.
But
so
I have
just
to,
figured, yeah,
I have to
I
agree
won
with
from there.
Alex here, though. I thought you were kind of a dick myself.
Well,
Oh
maybe
my
I am.
goodness.
I
Like,
don't
I
remember
he
how we.
is.
I don't remember the first time I met you either. Actually, I don't
Well,
have a good
so-
memory.
Well, it wasn't like the first time. It was like we played a couple of pods together, and I was like, oh. And they're like, oh, we're going Jason's. I'm like, I don't know who that is. And I would never go with them because I wasn't invited. I was weird about that. And then,
Yeah.
hey, yeah, Matt can come. And I just showed up at your house, and since then, I've been coming to your house about every other 2 days.
It's not a weird thing to want to be invited to places. That's a normal thing.
Well, yeah, but it's
Not-
like everyone's like, "Oh, it's an
It's not
open
normal
invite."
for Jason.
But
But it is
everybody kind of
normal.
knows they can just invite their friends if they want to.
Well,
so
now it
just-
was, but like that was back when the play group wasn't as big. It was just
Mm,
It was just freshly starting.
Yeah.
Because we play at my house probably 2 or 3 times a week now.
yeah.
So
as long as we don't make spills in your house.
yeah, as long as you don't spill my carpet and enrage the wife.
And rage with me. Honestly, I kind of resonate with what you said about Standard though, and how boring it got. Because that's kind of why I started playing Commander. I realized that I hated drafting because I was terrible at it. I hated Standard because it was mostly about who could construct the best deck from a website.
Exactly.
And it got really boring to play against the same stuff. I remember I was basically hard stuck gold in Arena, yeah, Magic Arena, because I was playing my Angrath red and black pirate deck, which I thought was a blast to play, but was never gonna be like a meta deck that I could actually like push rank with. So I'd get to like gold 4 and I'd stay there, and I never wanted to build a competitive standard deck. It just never interested me.
That was exactly my problem. Is I felt like everybody was just Googling the best decks, the ones that just recently won in the Pro Tour or whatever, and then that's all I'd see. And nobody would ever be creative. Nobody would ever build their own unique stuff. It was just what's the best in the meta right now, and it got really, really boring to me. And yeah, there's a lot of. It's not just who built the best deck; it's a lot of how you play the deck as well. I understand that, but I just got sick of seeing the exact same thing every single game, or the exact same, 3 different things every single game. It was one of the 3 best decks. It got really tiring. But I also didn't want to commit to Commander because of how much more expensive it is than Standard. I didn't want to. It's just so much more money to play Commander. But eventually, I tried it out and I just loved it. So here we are, $10,000 later.
I get
How
that.
much?
I get the money thing.
I just threw out a random number.
10,000.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, see,
I have no
I'm,
idea.
I think it's
I'm-
more than 10,000 for me.
I'm
It
opposite.
could be more or less. I have no idea.
I'm opposite than both of you guys. I loved Standard. Like I came in at Ikoria, so I still had Eldraine and Theros. But like, I didn't net deck, but I watched a lot of content creators on YouTube, and it was the more combo-y decks, and that's where I love combos. Like that's why I try to pull off these weird like 6-card combos. And so
Yeah.
it's just I like that Standard build, and I also love Land Destruction Standard. It was fun.
Land Destruction Standard. I remember when that was a thing. That was
Coming
a dark
back.
day.
So.
That was a dark day. That was honestly, in my opinion, I didn't play much Standard, but it was honestly, in my opinion, worse than the stupid Nexus of Fate meta that popped up.
That's true.
I hated Nexus of Fate. It was such a stupid card. why did they make it so it could shuffle back into your deck? It's not necessary.
It's really stupid, especially in a 60 card format where you can have 4 of them.
Hey, yeah, exactly. Well, I mean, now we talk about Commander. You can have as many as you want, um, as many as you extra turns cards as you want. I guess I should say, as many as there are. And I really hate playing against your extra turns deck, Jason.
Yeah, I don't blame you. I love it though. But okay, so for everybody that knows, against very very powerful decks,
Like
I don't
Thomas.
I don't like forcing people to play against extra turns when they're trying to come play a casual game of Commander. But
Yeah,
it's
but it doesn't even win with extra turns. Tell people how it wins,
wins with my favorite card.
which
My
is
favorite card is Mass Polymorph. So it's really
okay.
janky, but this deck does way better than I actually expected it to at first because I actually win a lot of games against some CD-ish level
Fringe
decks.
decks.
Like
Eight and
nines.
nines, 8 and 9s,
Yeah,
yeah.
strong
It wins.
nines.
It wins a lot of games against 8s and 9s, and it I take a lot of extra turns, but the goal is to get with using Elminster, whose -3 makes a bunch of 1/1 tokens basically, and then I mass polymorph those tokens, and I flop out things like Elish Norn and Hullbreaker Hort. That's the name, right? Hullbreaker Hort and stuff like that. Just
Yeah.
super oppressive cards.
Well, Jinga Taxes too isn't in there.
And Jin
Yeah.
Gataxis is in there.
Yeah.
And then I start copying extra turns, and it's the whole goal is to just use Mass Polymorph, which is one of my favorite cards. It's just so janky. Everybody's just confused when I cast it most of the time, and then they see what I flop out, and they're like, "What in the world?" Like I could easily make that deck 1,000 times better by taking out all the strong creatures and just putting in an infinite combo with Mass
Well,
Polymorph.
you know what's funny?
Yeah.
There was a Jeskai deck back in Standard and Ikoria that was that same thing. It's with Luca, because you can exile the creatures and you just run token creators and like 2 or 3 creatures in your whole deck, and you just cycle 2 of those creatures. And
Yeah.
it's kind of what you do with Mass Polymorph, but it's
Mm-hmm.
a little bit different because you can't stack the same 4 draw spells and like in Standard. But
Yeah.
Yeah, having 4 cards is lame, which is why standard is lame, and you should play Commander. Personally, so like I said, I started playing around Guilds of Ravnica. So the very first card I ever pulled was Rakdos the Showstopper. I really like that card just because it's such a cool art, and it was a promo. Is the only I think it's like the only promo that I still play with to this day that I can boast I actually pulled it at a pre-release event, because most of the other promos I don't put in any decks.
Mm-hmm.
Or I just end up buying them, because they're cool.
hey, or
Portal.
not to be rude, but you could be
Shiny.
like me. New Capena's pre-release. Pull what 3 triomes out of all my pre-release kits.
Yeah.
That's all
Yeah.
magical.
And nobody gets that lucky, right, Maddie?
No, triomes suck. Okay, I don't want triomes.
There
Dude,
was
I-
something at least.
I,
It could
I
be a
wanted
lot
to
worse.
planeswalker. Well, I can't play. Alex, you pulled the same planeswalker 3 times.
Dude, I pulled
3 versions, right?
regular. Yeah, I pulled regular Obnixilis, Purple Daddy Obnixilis,
Purple Daddy.
and the foil regular, but I didn't pull the best one, which was one in his throne, like
Yeah.
looking like a baller.
I got
And,
that one. I pulled it, but it wasn't foil. But it still looks really
see.
cool.
But
It's gotta be
hey,
shiny.
I pulled a
I don't even know if you
Raffine.
get that
I
one.
pulled a Gilded Raffine. So that's pretty cool.
That's pretty sweet.
That is pretty okay.
Also got the blue. What's the blue, black and red guy from Kaungawa that you like? The demon.
Black and red guy. I don't know.
Hidesaku, whatever.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, I have the
You
blue.
pulled
I bought the blue one. Yeah.
yeah, you pulled a blue. What do they call that? Neon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's so cool. I can't believe that card's worth like $4,000 for the red one though.
Yeah, I like how the red one's so much. It's like, that one looks like the worst. I like the green one and the yellow because it's just so popping.
It's It's
Yes.
very unique.
Well, and it's only worth $4,000 if someone will pay $4,000 for it.
Yeah, that's
And
true.
I don't know who would pay $4,000 for that card.
Not me. That's your favorite color combo too, isn't it though, Rakdos?
Yeah, that's honestly all I really play. And or I'll add green
Yeah, but-
and make it Jund.
No, it's
But
Rakdos
it's-
with green.
Yeah, exactly. It's Rakdos with green on top of it. But honestly, I really just like to play the decks that have beat down. Um, that's pretty much all I run. Trample, flying, that kind of thing.
hmm
Um,
Well,
Maddie,
flying's not really beatdown. That's more evasive.
what do you mean? I have to fly over people to beat them down.
That's what it means. Evasive. Like it's harder to block. What's going to
Flying
be a
creatures?
flying
Well,
creature?
like
Yeah.
your Greven deck, it has menace. It's kind of an evasive mechanic, but
Well,
I
you
guess,
just
but I
pay
still
50
beat
life and kill
face.
people. Yeah.
But anyway,
Yeah.
back to what you were asking me
it's beat
before I
down.
cut you off.
Oh, you're good, dude. I was just wondering, what kind of ways do you like to win Magic?
Oh, I'm a degenerate when I like to win. I like two cards that most people hate me on for. Jason says I'll never win with it. I've done it twice. Approach the Second
I
Sun.
never said you wouldn't win with it.
He makes fun of me because of it. But
I just tell you, it's probably the most boring card that's ever been printed. And
no, it's not the most boring card from printer, Mr. Extra Turns. But Approach of the Second Sun, and it's not because of what the card is. It's the artwork from the Mystical Archives. The Japanese version is the reason I love that card. It is just something about it, and it might just because I'm a total weeb, total nerd, but
Yeah,
it's
you
just
are.
I love dropping that card, and it's a game winner. It puts people on a clock, but also my other favorite card is another card from that same set, Torment of Hellfire.
The other most boringest card ever printed.
Yeah, but I'm not like I like to pop a Torment of Hellfire at like 30 plus. If you can pop a high one off, you're like, I'm the boss. And it's like turn 3, and everyone's like, oh, I don't have anything on the board. You're like, yeah, I win. But
No, it's more like I just played Torment of Hellfire. Oops, the game is over. Everybody go home.
no, scoop back up and play again. And then just because I like the aggressive nature of the concept is also Foreign Clicks, Voice of Hunger. It's not necessarily a win card, the best one.
Well, I mean, by the worst one, I mean the worst to play against.
You mean the
one that
saltiest?
makes yes, the one that makes your lands not on tap, right?
Yes. So Foreign Clicks, it's 5 colorless, 2 green. When I tap a land, I double it. When you tap a land, it locks it to your next upkeep. And
Very
so
impressive.
it's very oppressive, but it also falls into what my favorite color combo is, and that's Abzan. Those 3 cards are in my stacks deck, which is Murkrow Load of Bones, which kind of that is one of my favorite decks. And the
Played
combo
against that deck on Saturday. I hated it. Hated every moment of it, which means it's a good stacks deck. So,
and that's and like you got from the last episode, me and Jason, you guys talking about how I like stacks, but the way that concept works is I took it differently, just being stacks and heat bearers. Yeah, it's that, but the whole goal is to pull everything in my hand, get below 20th, and drop all my fast manas to get Murkrow out, and then hit him with Abyss. No, what is it? Peer into the Abyss, lose half my deck, and then Eerie Ultimatum, pull it all back to the board. And then I was like, oh, freaks out, board wipes, they all become enchantments, and they just sit to the side, and I'm like, can't touch it. Because I have like Sterling Grow, so they have Shroud.
Yeah.
So didn't that deck used to be Belby?
No, that was Kadama and Timna.
Oh, that's what it was. Because
Yeah.
I lost to that deck.
Yeah.
So you basically just made it more resilient with Mickrel then.
Yeah, I made it so like if I
Okay.
get board wiped, like if I can get him out, and that's why like if you play against me with that deck, I'm like, yeah, swing at me, I'll let you take damage, I'll like come get your trigger off me, just because I want to get to 20 below health, because that's when he comes indestructible and I can board wipe myself and get these hate bearers and enchantments and just either slow down the game or ping everyone to death.
Unless Jason steals them from you first.
Which that's what we talked about last week, is stealing. We talked about our worst archetypes, but
That's one of my other favorite decks is Tasha.
But
I
it
hate
taught
that deck.
everybody hates it so much. It's not theft.
it's
in a
not.
sense.
It's like
It's
we talked.
because I have to cast the spells that I.
Well,
don't
you talked
use
about it last
before.
week, so most people will
Yeah.
understand.
Yeah, but I love it though. It's one of my favorite decks to play right now. And then I was gonna tell you guys my favorite color combo, which I'm glad you guys have yours because I I have a hard time picking mine, but it's either got to be Is It or Esper. I really like Is It because of what it does. It's really good at Storm. I like these guys know I like Storm. I like kind of decks that generate a lot of value in one turn. They can just keep going and going and going and going. They like
It's not called value. It's called solitaire.
yeah. They like it when I play Solitaire almost as much as I do. They just like stand on the sidelines and cheer for
We just
20
cheer for him.
It's
We're
really
like,
nice of them. Yeah. And then I just like Esper because I don't know. I do like Control a lot, but I don't play it a lot because other people don't like it. But if I could just always play Esper, I'd kind of like that.
and do it.
You
Huh?
don't like it either. You don't like it either.
No, I don't like it either. I don't like playing being controlled
Yeah.
at all. I
Yeah.
hate being controlled.
Which
But, like,
that's why you hate my Vadrix deck.
but I also think blue just has the most janky fun, as well as like they're the most obnoxious color. Blue's the most obnoxious color. Everybody agrees. Like, well, everybody
Yeah,
should agree.
I
with
would
that.
agree with that.
But it's
Well,
also
it was
it has a
blue.
lot of.
I feel like green's become the obnoxious color because it can do everything.
Green's still just big creatures. I mean,
Yeah.
it can do everything, but it just does it more it does it easier now.
Yeah.
It's still just going
Value.
to do the same BS, but blue is just you can take blue in a lot of different ways. I feel like
Yeah, that's
so that's
true.
kind of why I like blue a lot.
That makes sense.
So I guess those would be my
I
favorite color combos.
I hate blue personally, unless we're talking about my horror deck. My horror deck is amazing. Captain Nagathrod just came out. A pause deck. It's not really like theft so much. It's more like it's more like blue and black beatdown. I beat people down with horrors instead, and it sounds like I'm saying horrors. It mills people's libraries off the top, and I get to steal them with Captain Nagathrod, an artifact or a creature, and the deck pops off. Honestly, it's pretty great. It's less about mill and more about just beating people up and stealing their stuff. It's really hard for me to win unless I accidentally steal something big because horrors, they have large asses, but not very much power. And it's really hard to beat someone up with a 3/6 menace.
That's actually how I feel about Tasha too. I think it's a really good deck, and it can really it can become very. I guess it's kind of control-y, but it's more like I just generate so much value that it's hard for you guys to overcome me, and I can. I don't know. It kind of feels very pillow 40 sometimes, just because I can always steal your stuff. I can get the most optimal things to save my life a lot, but then like it's hard for me to actually kill people without stealing something strong from you guys.
You're
Because
kind of
3/3s,
dependent on what you're
yeah,
stealing.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
So I feel the
Um,
exact same way about
So
Tasha.
let's just make a rule from playgroup: don't steal people's cards. Okay, sounds good.
no, you
Mm,
can't
Playgroup.
make that rule, man.
Sounds good.
Yeah, and then we can't play Approach the Second Sun either, or
I-
any
I-
card
I-
that says any card that says you win the game on it.
You
we
win the
just can't play that anymore.
tribal.
Yeah.
They don't talk about West Stranger Kids deck like that.
No more you win the game.
Honestly, Jason, I think your Tasha deck gets a lot of like unnecessary hate because Tasha doesn't care about the color of mana that you use to cast other people's stuff, right?
Mhm.
So you have every single colorless mana rock that ever existed in the game
I have a lot
in
of
that
them.
deck.
Yeah.
Yes, and usually they balance themselves because you can't really do much with colorless mana. But when we look over at Jason's board and he has 5 mana rocks and a total of like 18 mana on the board, it's hard not to be intimidated.
Yeah.
So what are you going to do with 18 mana?
Well, it comes back to the moment that we have now decided to do more interactions. We've got to have those Vandal Blasts. We've got to have those, not Extinction Event, but like enchant removal, artifact removal. Farewell, but like the cheaper versions where
True
it's...
Farewell.
Farewell's best.
I hate that
That card needed to be printed.
Whenever I build a deck, I now have to think about Farewell.
Farewell
hate that.
beats so many
It's
decks.
the same thing as Ugin, just 2 mana cheaper.
I guess that's fair, but nobody runs Planeswalkers in decks that they don't need to.
That's not the same thing as Ugin.
But you can slap this white piece of bullcrap into any white deck, and it fits.
White piece of bullcrap.
I hate it.
As the
I hate
Rakdos
it so
player.
much.
It's because you're a Rakdos player. You hate white because you're Rakdos.
Because you can't
Yeah.
play Farewell.
literally.
That's
all
why you
of
hate it, because
my-
you can't play Farewell. Just play
It
Mario,
even
dog.
has it even has a really cool art to it as well. The
Literally.
anime art, the foil anime art. It looks really cool.
You weeb.
I haven't seen it, so I
Honestly,
don't know what that looks like.
As a
It
red
looks-
and
it's
black
pretty sweet.
player, as a red and black player, Farewell just like destroys literally every deck that I build by itself with one card. and
Yeah,
I don't
Rakdos
like it.
doesn't like exile very much.
No, because I want to recur stuff from my graveyard,
Yeah,
or at the very least, I want it to die.
yeah.
so I
you
get
get
the
triggers off
triggers.
stuff dying.
Yeah, exactly.
You need to just run more protection.
Run more
Oh my
protection.
God.
Okay, I'll
From
run.
Farewell. Farewell's so
Tybalt's
hard
trickery.
to protect. Exactly.
Yeah.
What do you use to protect yourself from Farewell?
I don't know what.
Tybalt's trickery.
It's like gonna be the test for the next episode. I gotta figure out what cards.
My
you can
favorite
choose.
card from Kamigawa. That's how you protect yourself. With
Which
March of the
is?
Swirling Mist.
No, because
It
they don't
doesn't
come
matter.
back.
What color is that?
It
Oh
exiles.
yeah. No. Wait, no, they phase out. So you phase out all your stuff, Farewell resolves, and then they phase back in on your next turn.
Yeah, that's how it works.
It's mono blue, but yeah. You can't play that one either.
Yeah, thanks. That's why I'd never heard of it before, because I don't
That
read blue
March of the
cards.
Swirling Mist is the most underrated card.
You are like the worst like salesman for that card. Anytime conversation comes up with blue, like, hey, you run what is it, March of the
March
Swirling
of the
Mist?
Swirling Mist.
Next time
You
around,
have no,
that card.
if I could go back in time and just like recall how many times that card has won me a game, it would be over like 10. It's insane.
Jason's gonna come back from Vegas and be like tattooed March of the Swirling Mist
March-
across the,
Mass polymorph March of the Swirling Mist.
and then some weave art on top of it. No, Farewell will be your tramp stamp.
Farewell across the forehead.
Oh my goodness. That'd be
Anyways,
awesome. Anyways, I think we can pretty much call it there. I think in kind of our outro to you guys, we just wanted to thank everybody for coming on Saturday. It ended up going way better than I think any of us anticipated. Yeah, there was a lot of kinks because it was our first event, but it couldn't have gone better, honestly, for a first thing.
it's a lot of fun too.
I thought it was a blast.
Yeah, it was a blast. I'm so glad so many people showed up, and it seemed like everybody had a good time, even though with the small errors we had and kinks, but everyone seemed like they were having a good time. So.
Yeah, and honestly, like, I thought I was gonna be bored. I thought I was gonna have to like walk around and talk to people all day, and I wasn't gonna get to play Magic. But honestly, it was a great time. And we have Kenny and his company Ascend Staffing to thank for that. They brought us pizza for everybody. They had water bottles and a nice little booth set up. We wanted to thank Top Dead Center Drilling as well. They gave us money so we could, afford to buy prizes for the event. And yeah, thanks to everybody who came out and supported us.
And big
We
thanks to
hope-
Game Den. Don't forget them.
Yes, yeah, Game Den's great. Yeah, honestly, Game Den's been fantastic. Daniel over at Game Den is one of the best guys I've ever met, and they take really good care of us.
North Game Den, Layton, Utah. They're fantastic. They have a
yeah.
huge collection. Their employees and their staff is always very, very kind to everybody, and they try really hard to make sure everybody's included and happy. So, and they have good pricing.
Great price.
Great
don't-
pricing.
they don't-
ECG and buy their cards,
North Game Den.
or come into the game shop. And on
Well-
that note, goodbye, everybody.
See you later.
good
Thanks
night.
for watching.